Ladies, let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why some women don't have to chase, beg, or prove themselves, and yet men can't stop thinking about them? It's not always the looks. It's not always the outfit. It's not even about playing hard to get. It's about how she uses her tongue. No, not in the way you think. I'm talking about the language of attraction, the way she speaks, the tone, the words, the energy behind her communication. Because your tongue can be your most powerful weapon or your biggest weakness. See, most women think attraction is about what they do physically. But a woman's true magic lives in her words, the way she can make a man feel seen, challenged, desired, and respected all at once. There's a reason the Bible says life and death are in the power of the tongue. You can make a man fall, chase, commit, or lose interest, all through your choice of words. So today, I want to teach you the 5 tongue secrets, 5 psychological communication habits that make a man obsessed in the best way possible. Not needy obsession, not toxic obsession, but the kind of magnetic pull where he feels compelled to show up for you, think about you, and invest in you. And when you master these 5 secrets, you'll never have to question your worth again. You won't be the one asking, does he like me? Because you'll feel the energy flip, and he'll be the one thinking, what is it about her? Let's begin. Secret number 1, the power of curiosity. Don't tell, tease. Curiosity is the oxygen of attraction. It's what makes someone lean in, want to know more, and keep coming back for another taste of you. The moment a man feels like he's figured you out completely, the spark begins to fade. Not because you're any less valuable, but because mystery is the lifeblood of desire. When everything about you is out in the open too quickly, your emotions, your plans, your stories, there's nothing left for him to discover. And discovery is what fuels obsession. Think about it this way. Have you ever watched a movie trailer that showed everything? You lose the excitement because you already know what's coming. The same principle applies to attraction. When you leave small blanks for him to fill, when you share just enough to intrigue but not enough to satisfy, you activate a part of his mind that can't stop wondering about you. That wondering becomes thinking, that thinking becomes craving, and that craving becomes emotional investment. The power of curiosity lies in what you don't reveal. When he asks about your day, don't turn it into a full diary entry. Instead of saying, it was stressful, my boss yelled at me and I had to deal with traffic for an hour, say, it was one of those days that tested my patience, but I made it through. Short, confident, intriguing. You've given him enough to connect with, but not enough to fully know. And guess what happens next? He leans in. He asks more. He engages. That's attraction at work. Not through effort, but through energy control. Most women lose curiosity because they try to impress. They over-explain, overshare, and overprove. But confidence isn't about over-delivering, it's about selective sharing. You don't owe anyone your full story right away. The right man will want to earn it. And when you give him the space to earn it, you give him a reason to pursue. The secret is not about being cold or distant. It's about being unpredictable in a warm way. A woman who always responds instantly, always gives full explanations, always makes herself available, becomes emotionally predictable. And predictability kills curiosity. But when your words leave a touch of wonder, when you laugh and say, you'll find out later, or let's keep that mystery alive for now, you create mental engagement. You've shifted the dynamic. Now, instead of chasing his attention, you've made him chase your meaning. There's an art to being a mystery. It's not manipulation, it's mastery. You're not playing games, you're creating space for attraction to breathe. When you hold back a few details, you allow imagination to work in your favor. And trust me, imagination is far more powerful than information. Men are wired to solve puzzles. They love the chase, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. When you're too accessible, you remove the thrill of pursuit. But when you hold just enough back, when you speak with a hint of playfulness, a tone that says there's more to me than you can see right now, you become unforgettable. Here's the truth. Mystery doesn't come from pretending to be someone else. It comes from being so grounded in yourself that you don't feel the need to explain or justify. It's saying, you'll get to know me in time with quiet confidence. It's understanding that you are the story worth unfolding, one chapter at a time. So the next time you speak with a man, remember, attraction isn't built by flooding him with words. It's built by making every word count. A touch of teasing, a sprinkle of humor, a pause that leaves him curious. These are your silent magnets. Let him wonder what's going on behind that calm smile. Let him question what you're thinking. Let him miss information on purpose. Because when you learn to master curiosity, when you speak less but mean more, you stop being just another woman he met. You become the woman he can't stop thinking about. And that's not manipulation. That's magnetism. It's not about withholding to control. It's about knowing that mystery is the music of desire. Speak like a melody, not a map, and watch him keep listening, because he never wants the song to end. Secret number 2, the compliment flip. Feed his ego, but don't starve yours. Every man wants to feel admired. That's human nature. But the way you give that admiration determines whether he values you or takes you for granted. The second secret to making a man obsessed is what I call the compliment flip. It's the art of complimenting him in a way that feeds his ego without starving your own worth. It's balance. It's confidence. It's the difference between being adored and being overlooked. See, most women think giving a man a compliment means they're building connection. And yes, compliments can create warmth. But if all you ever do is shower him with praise, you're so handsome, you're so funny, you're amazing, he doesn't have to earn your admiration anymore. You've given him dessert before he's even ordered the meal. That kind of flattery feels nice in the moment, but it doesn't build long-term attraction. Because when something is too available, it loses its value. The power of the compliment flip lies in how you give recognition. You're not saying, you're perfect. You're saying, I see your strength, and I'm strong enough to stand beside it. That's a compliment with substance. It gives him validation, while reminding him that your approval matters because it's not given cheaply. For example, instead of saying, you're so smart, say, I love the way your mind works. It makes conversations feel like a challenge. You're acknowledging his intelligence, but you're also expressing how you engage with it. You've made yourself part of the moment, not just a spectator clapping from the sidelines. That subtle shift tells him you're not just impressed, you're interested. And there's a big difference between the two. Men crave appreciation, but they respect women who give it selectively. When you feed his ego with confidence and wit, you create tension, the kind that keeps him leaning in. Because he feels seen, but not worshipped, desired, but not owned. That's what sparks emotional chemistry. Here's the truth. Men subconsciously test women to see if their attention can be earned or bought. A woman who flatters too easily comes off as trying to win approval. A woman who compliments with timing and sincerity shows she already has approval, her own. And that's irresistible. Think of it like this. Every time you give a compliment, you're handing out emotional currency. If you hand it out freely, it loses value. But when you give it with purpose, intention, and a hint of playfulness, it becomes gold. You want him to feel like he's earned your praise, not expected it. So when he does something impressive, smile and say, that's a good start. Or, you're actually full of surprises. That's the compliment flip. You validate him, but you also challenge him. You feed his pride, but you keep his curiosity hungry. You're not competing, you're co-creating attraction. And let's talk about the second part. Don't starve your own ego, because too many women build men up while quietly tearing themselves down. They make him feel like the prize while forgetting that they are the gift. Every time you compliment him, make sure it comes from a place of equality, not insecurity. Don't say, you're out of my league, or I'm lucky to have your attention. No. He's lucky that someone as emotionally intelligent and grounded as you is even engaging with him. That's the energy of high value. The most powerful women don't withhold kindness. They refine it. They know that compliments mean more when they come from someone who means it. Your job isn't to inflate his ego endlessly. It's to give him a mirror that reflects the best version of himself when he earns it. So when you speak, speak with balance. Feed his confidence, but keep your crown. Let your words say, I see your greatness without ever implying I'm smaller than it. Because when a man feels admired by a woman who clearly admires herself, that's when obsession begins. He doesn't just want your validation, he wants your respect. He doesn't just want your attention, he wants to deserve it. The compliment flip turns every praise into power. It reminds him that your admiration is rare, real, and worth working for. And when he realizes that, he won't just chase your attention, he'll protect it. Secret number 3, the emotional mirror. Speak his emotion, not just his words. The third secret to making a man truly obsessed isn't found in what you say. It's found in how deeply you understand. Most people hear words, few people hear emotions. And yet, every man, no matter how tough, logical, or emotionally guarded, is craving one thing: to be understood. The emotional mirror is about reflecting back not just what he says, but what he feels underneath it. Because the woman who can name a man's feelings without judgment becomes unforgettable. See, most men grow up being told to be strong, to hold it together, to man up. They're rarely given the space to express vulnerability. So when you become the person who listens beyond the surface, who sees the emotion behind his tone, you create something sacred: emotional safety. And emotional safety is what makes a man open, attach, and stay. Imagine he says, "Work's been insane lately." Most people reply with, "Yeah, same here," or "at least you're busy." That response is logical, but not emotional. It keeps the conversation at the surface. But if you look at him and say, "That sounds exhausting. You've been carrying a lot lately, haven't you?" Everything shifts. You didn't just hear his words, you felt them. You gave him permission to drop the mask even for a moment. And that one moment of emotional recognition plants a seed of trust. This is the secret women who create deep emotional connections know instinctively. Empathy is intimacy. You don't need to fix, lecture, or analyze. You just need to mirror back what he's feeling in your own gentle way. It's not about agreeing with everything he says. It's about saying, "I see where that emotion is coming from." That validation, not approval, but understanding, is what creates emotional addiction. Because men don't get that kind of reflection in most areas of their lives. They might get respect at work, admiration from friends, attention from others, but emotional understanding, that's rare. When you master the emotional mirror, you become his safe space. Not his therapist, not his fixer, but his calm. The energy he returns to after the noise of the world. And when a man feels emotionally safe around you, he doesn't just want your body, he wants your presence, he wants your energy, he wants your understanding. But here's the delicate balance. Mirroring emotion doesn't mean losing yourself in his pain. It's not about absorbing his energy, it's about acknowledging it. When he's frustrated, you don't become frustrated. When he's distant, you don't chase. You stay centered, calm, and compassionate, like a mirror reflecting truth, not chaos. That's what emotional strength looks like, and it's incredibly attractive. The truth is, attraction built on excitement burns fast. But attraction built on emotional safety, that lasts. The woman who knows how to speak to a man's emotion, not just his words, creates a connection he can't replicate anywhere else. Because when he feels like you get him without him having to explain everything, he experiences something deeper than chemistry. He feels peace. And peace is the new addiction. So when you're listening, tune into the emotion behind his sentences. Is he stressed, proud, hurt, uncertain, lonely? Respond to that. Don't rush to change the topic or lighten the mood. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is, "That sounds hard," or "I get why that would make you feel that way." You'd be amazed at how those simple words can melt walls that have been up for years. Remember, obsession doesn't come from drama. It comes from depth. And depth is born when someone feels emotionally safe enough to show their truth. Speak less to impress and more to understand. Let your words mirror his emotions with grace, warmth, and sincerity. Because the woman who can make a man feel seen, not for his achievements, not for his looks, but for his heart, becomes the woman he can't forget. She becomes the quiet voice in his head, long after the conversation ends. That's the magic of the emotional mirror. It's not loud, it's not showy, it's simple, calm, and rare, and that's exactly why it's powerful. Secret number 4. The soft power of silence. Let your tongue rest, not just his words. Silence is one of the most underrated forms of communication, yet it's also one of the most powerful. In a world where everyone is trying to be heard, the person who knows when not to speak becomes magnetic. The 4th secret is learning to master the soft power of silence, to let your tongue rest so that your presence does the talking. Because silence, when used with confidence, creates space, mystery, and emotional tension, the 3 ingredients that make attraction last. Most people fear silence because it feels uncomfortable. We rush to fill the gaps, to explain, to clarify, to reassure. But confident women know that silence isn't emptiness, it's energy control. When you can hold space in a conversation without needing to fill it, you send one powerful message: I'm comfortable with myself. And comfort with oneself is deeply attractive because it signals emotional maturity and security. Think about it. When a man says something that surprises or challenges you, and you pause instead of reacting, that pause makes him pay attention. It disrupts his pattern. It makes him wonder what you're thinking. You're not playing games, you're simply giving your words time to breathe. That silence is power. It's confidence without arrogance. It says, I don't need to rush to prove anything. Silence also reveals strength in emotional moments. When a man pulls away, a woman's instinct is often to chase, to fix, to ask, what's wrong? But sometimes the most powerful move is to step back and let silence speak for you. Because silence isn't always distance. Sometimes it's dignity. It says, I'm here, but I won't beg for what I deserve. That kind of restraint leaves a deep imprint on a man's mind. He starts to realize your absence feels louder than anyone else's words. The soft power of silence works because it amplifies meaning. When you do speak, your words carry more weight. When you laugh, it feels more genuine. When you compliment, it feels more sincere. Silence creates contrast, and contrast is what keeps communication alive. Imagine a song with no pauses between the notes. It would just be noise. What makes a melody beautiful is the space between the sounds. The same goes for connection. Men, especially emotionally driven ones, are drawn to women who exude calm. When you speak softly, when you take your time, when you pause instead of rushing, you signal control. You show that you're not seeking validation. You are validation. Silence gives your presence authority. It draws attention without demanding it. That's real feminine power, quiet, graceful, and grounded. Another beautiful thing about silence is how it invites curiosity. When you don't respond immediately to every message, when you take time to think before you answer, you create space for him to wonder. That wondering builds tension, and tension builds desire. It's not manipulation, it's magnetism. It's giving yourself permission to respond from calm instead of emotion. Because when you're quiet, you can hear not only him, but also yourself. There's also a kind of silence that heals. The silence of presence. Sitting next to someone, saying nothing, yet communicating everything. When a man feels your energy in that quiet, he realizes you're not trying to entertain him, you're being with him. And that's rare. In a world of noise, that kind of peaceful connection feels like home. So, the next time you're tempted to explain too much, prove too much, or talk just to fill the air, pause. Take a breath. Let silence carry your confidence. Let him feel the weight of your calm. Because silence doesn't mean disinterest. It means self-control. And self-control is the most irresistible form of power. When you learn to use silence intentionally, you shift from chasing attention to commanding it. You teach him to lean in, to listen, to value your presence. You show him that your energy speaks louder than any words ever could. And when a man realizes that your quiet stillness can fill a room more than anyone else's noise, that's when obsession begins. Silence becomes your symphony, and every pause becomes a moment he can't stop thinking about. Secret number 5, the art of playful challenge. Speak with spark, not just his words. There's something irresistible about a woman who can make a man laugh, keep him guessing, and make him feel both seen and challenged at the same time. That's the energy of the art of playful challenge. It's when your words carry spark, not confrontation, but charisma. It's when you communicate confidence through teasing, wit, and timing that tells him, I like you, but I'm not impressed by everything you do. It's about creating emotional tension wrapped in light-hearted fun. And when done right, it's one of the most powerful ways to make a man obsessed, because it activates both his desire and his respect. Men are wired for challenge, not conflict, but challenge. They fall for women who make them feel alive, women who aren't afraid to push back, question, or play. The problem is, many women mistake being kind for being agreeable. They think saying yes, laughing at every joke, or always going with the flow makes them likable. But what it really does is make them forgettable. A man doesn't want to feel like he's dating a fan. He wants to feel like he's met his match. Playful challenge is the art of engaging his ego without inflating it. It's the balance between warmth and wit. When he says something cocky like, I'm amazing at cooking, instead of replying, that's great, try saying, oh really? That sounds like something I'd have to taste to believe. Instantly, you've created a flirty moment. You didn't argue, you didn't flatter, but you left room for chemistry. That's spark. The power of this secret lies in your tone. It's not sarcasm. It's confidence with a smile. You're not trying to belittle him. You're inviting him into play. Think of it as verbal dancing. You take a step, he takes a step, and suddenly there's rhythm, laughter, curiosity, and a connection that feels effortless. When you bring a playful challenge into your interactions, you remind him that attraction isn't just about looks or words. It's about energy exchange. You're showing him that you can handle him, that you won't be easily swayed, and that you bring something exciting to the table, your personality. Most women underestimate how intoxicating it is for a man to feel entertained and intrigued by a woman's mind. When he doesn't know what you'll say next, you become a mystery he wants to explore again and again. But let's be clear, being playful doesn't mean being combative. It's not about proving you're right or showing dominance. It's about creating emotional friction, that spark between two confident people who enjoy the back and forth. You're not testing him, you're tantalizing him. You're showing him that connection doesn't have to be heavy. It can be light, fun, and sexy. Men remember how you make them feel. If you can make him laugh and think at the same time, he'll crave your energy, because life is full of serious conversations and stress. The woman who can bring levity, confidence, and fun into his world becomes his emotional escape. An obsession isn't built through intensity alone. It's built through contrast. You give him depth, but you also give him joy. You can be soft, but you can also be spicy. That's what keeps him coming back. Playful challenge also sets the tone for respect. When you can tease him with grace, it tells him that you're not afraid to stand on equal ground. You're not putting him on a pedestal, and you're not trying to knock him off it. You're standing right beside him. That's partnership energy. It makes him feel both respected and challenged to rise. So when you're speaking with a man, don't just respond. Dance with your words. Add spark. Throw in humor. Be unpredictable. Let your confidence shine through your playfulness. A raised eyebrow, a smirk, a clever remark. These are small gestures that leave lasting impressions. Because at the end of the day, men don't fall in love with perfection. They fall in love with the woman who can make them feel alive. The woman who can challenge them without cutting them down. The woman whose words have rhythm, who can flirt without fear, and who can turn every moment into a memory. That's what playful challenge does. It transforms ordinary conversations into emotional electricity. And when you master this art, you'll realize that spark isn't something you chase. It's something you create. With confidence, with humor, with presence. Speak with spark, not just words, and watch him lean in, not because he has to, but because he can't help himself. The secret of sincerity, bonus one. Speak from the heart, not the script. There's a kind of power that doesn't shout. It doesn't try to impress, it doesn't perform, and it doesn't beg to be understood. It simply is. That power is sincerity. And when it comes to making a man truly obsessed with you, not just interested, but emotionally invested, sincerity is your secret weapon. Because authenticity cuts through every layer of pretense. It makes your words feel real. In a world full of filters, rehearsed texts, and copied conversations, sincerity feels rare. Most people are too busy trying to sound right rather than be real. They want to say what they think will get a reaction, not what they actually feel. But here's the truth. Men can feel the difference. They might not always articulate it, but they know when a woman's words are coming from her heart versus her strategy. When you speak sincerely, you create safety. You make him feel like he can finally exhale. Because while attraction pulls him in, sincerity makes him stay. A man doesn't obsess over the woman who says the perfect thing. He obsesses over the woman who says what she means. The woman who can look at him and, without performance, say something honest, something vulnerable, something real. Sincerity doesn't mean you spill every emotion or overshare. It's not about emotional dumping, it's about alignment. Your words matching your energy. When you say, "I had a great time with you," and your tone, eyes, and smile all echo that truth, he feels it. You're not saying it to get something. You're saying it because you mean it. And that kind of authenticity creates emotional intimacy faster than any script ever could. Think about it. Anyone can memorize flirtation. Anyone can repeat the lines that sound confident. But very few people have the courage to be themselves without the safety net of control. When you stop trying to sound perfect and start being present, your energy changes. You're no longer talking at him, you're connecting with him. You're not performing, you're relating. Men are naturally drawn to women who bring warmth and truth into a room. They remember the woman who made them feel seen, not through grand gestures, but through genuine expression. Sometimes sincerity is as simple as saying, I like being around you. You make me feel calm. No manipulation, no chase, just truth. And truth has a frequency that people can't resist. The beauty of sincerity is that it doesn't need to be loud. You don't have to prove how real you are. It's felt in your pauses, your tone, your eyes. When you speak from a place of honesty, you invite him to do the same. That's when emotional walls fall. That's when connection deepens. And that's when obsession begins. Not the shallow kind born from mystery or distance, but the profound kind that grows from authentic connection. Here's the irony. When you stop trying to impress him, you become more impressive. When you stop trying to be cool, you become magnetic. Because men are not just attracted to beauty, they're drawn to truth. They crave something real in a world that constantly feels artificial. And sincerity doesn't just affect what you say, it shapes how you listen. When you're sincere, you're not waiting for your turn to speak, you're present. You're tuned in. You're showing interest, not because you want something, but because you care. That's the kind of energy that makes a man feel emotionally safe, and emotional safety is what makes obsession sustainable. So stop rehearsing. Stop overthinking what to text or how to sound. Start speaking from the part of you that doesn't need validation, the part that already knows her worth. Speak like someone who has nothing to prove and everything to share. Because at the end of the day, real attraction doesn't come from perfect words. It comes from authentic presence. And sincerity is the bridge between your heart and his. It's the moment where he stops seeing you as another woman and starts feeling you as the one. That's the secret of sincerity. When you speak from the heart, you stop playing the game. And when you stop playing the game, you change it. You become the calm in the noise, the truth in the chaos. And that truth, that's what makes him obsessed. Not with an image, not with a performance, but with you. Speak like the woman who knows her worth. Ladies, the way you use your tongue can make a man desire you, respect you, and commit to you. Not because you're playing games, but because you're speaking from a place of power and poise. When you master these 5 tongue secrets, you create curiosity that keeps him hooked. You give compliments that challenge him. You reflect emotion that makes him feel safe. You use silence that deepens the connection. You offer playful energy that excites him. and you wrap it all in sincerity that makes him believe in you. Remember, your words are not just sounds, they are energy. And the woman who controls her energy controls her world. So speak with intention. Speak with confidence. Speak like the woman who doesn't chase because she attracts. And that is how you make him obsessed, not with your body, but with your essence.